In the far reaches of the galactic core, the Dominion's grand observatory buzzed with signals, radio hum, quantum flickers, subspace pulses. For centuries, Earth's chatter had merged into that background, a veritable cosmic chorus of commerce, entertainment, and encrypted codes. Then, one quiet cycle, it all stopped. Long cycle, the silence struck the Dominion Control Council like a solar flare out of nowhere. All at once, the Earth feeds on every known band went dark. No transmissions, no signals, not even a stray ping of cosmic background interference that might indicate a malfunction. Simply gone. Come on, she thought. High monitor Quez Solarin, a slender form encased in translucent scales, stood rigid before the main console. In the grand observatorium, a massive crystalline chamber filled with holographic readouts, alarms blared in sync with Quez's spiraling sense of dread. Notice the three patterns now distorting the view screen on the rear-view mirror. Recalibrate the quantum receivers, Quez ordered, tendrils around his mouth trembling. I monitor, replied Officer Serendole, whose three sapphire eyes glowed in deep concern. We've run calibration 4 times, no interference. Earth has ceased all transmissions. A wave of hushed chatter rippled through the observatorium. Representatives from 13 star-faring species started talking over each other, translator modules struggling to keep up. Perhaps their star went supernova? Could they have destroyed themselves? Another species sabotage? All speculation, until the commanding voice of Matriarch Risali of the Taiyan Federation rang out, amplified by her translator. Silence from Earth? Impossible. These humans talk more than any species I've encountered. This is intentional. Her words brought the arguments to a halt. Eyes turned back to Quez, who pulled up a last known broadcast log. It ended sharply at 23:59 on the Galactic Standard Clock. A perfect cutoff. They planned this, Quez whispered. The question is why? On the Council's directive, scout frigates were dispatched to human space. They found only half-abandoned orbital stations, ghostly quiet. Automated docking platforms responded with minimal, routine commands. Key facilities like Navis Station near Jupiter or the famed lunar hub operated on skeleton crews or even droids alone. Yet none of the scouts could find any major sign of the Earth defense fleets. It was as though an entire civilization had pulled stakes and simply vanished. At the Dominion's headquarters on Honoria Prime, Archregent Kazith convened a crisis session. A 12-sided table of luminescent crystals served as the center of the discussion, each Dominion race represented by a shimmering seat. We have no reason to suspect Earth has been destroyed, hissed the Iraq delegate, Ziranar, her spidery limbs clacking on the table. One does not simply hide an entire system's worth of vessels and technology unless they developed something completely out of our purview, interrupted Professor Wexel from the avian-like Cressa Union. Their breakthroughs with warp gates in the Barnard sector were achieved a decade sooner than any other civilization predicted. Archregent Kazith, robed in deep emerald silks, steepled his scaled fingers. Has it occurred to anyone that Earth's sudden silence might be a tactical maneuver? We've seen glimpses of their cunning before. Silence settled around the table. Each delegate knew the ancient adage about humans. They adapt too fast. They always find a way. Far from the Dominion's watchful gaze, on the fringes of a star system previously dismissed as uninhabitable, the Earth fleet had gathered. Hundreds of ships floated in low-light stealth, their hulls coated with a new alloy that drank in starlight rather than reflecting it. In the command center of the UES Vanguard, Admiral Anya Sorin surveyed her bridge. Panels glowed in subtle hues, reflecting off her dark features. At her side, Chief Quantum Engineer Dr. Callum Reyes quietly ran diagnostics on a newly installed drive system. Admiral, Reyes began, the final tests confirm it. Our phase veil drive can bypass conventional FTL detection. We can make transitional jumps without leaving the typical energy signatures behind. Anya's gaze drifted across the star map. Markers for the Dominion and its allied worlds blinked in clusters of red. In green, Earth's hidden fleets dotted the edges of every major trade route. Aim good, she said softly. Then the days of Earth being under Dominion oversight are done. It's time we chart our own course. She glanced at her first officer, Commander Sienna Ward, whose jaw tightened at the mention of the Dominion. They never came for us during the hive mind incursion near Ganymede, Sienna muttered. They used our colonies as test subjects to see how well we'd fare on our own. Turned a crisis into their experiment. Yet we prevailed, Anya responded. And we learned. Now we have a chance to ensure no one else underestimates us again. In the background, data streams of comm channels scrolled. Earth had gone silent because Earth no longer needed the galaxy's validation. Or its scrutiny. High Monitor Keys arranged a secret meeting in a rarely used starport on the Dominion's outer rim Port Helitha. There, in a hidden docking bay, a lone human corvette blinked into view without any warp sign. One moment empty space, the next a sleek, black-hulled vessel appearing in a shimmer of quantum displacement. So, Kays and a small contingent waited nervously. The corvette's airlock hissed open. Out stepped Envoy Patrice Allen, flanked by 2 armed guards in advanced exosuits. Kays tried to steady his frayed nerves as he approached. "Envoy Allen," he said, voice echoing in the starport. "We've missed your transmissions. The entire galaxy wonders at your sudden silence." Allen's face remained unreadable. "We decided we had nothing more to say. At least, not in the old channels." She paused, assessing the group around Kez. "Your Dominion has grown accustomed to Earth's open broadcasts, our naive transparency, and your disappearance has caused significant concern?" Kez pressed. Allen folded her arms, glancing around at the flickering overhead lights, the outdated Dominion security droids scanning the corridor. "Concern is an interesting word, High Monitor. We've come to present new terms, not to request an audience, but to give you a final chance to avoid unpleasantness." In the Dominion capital of Honoria Prime, rumors spread like wildfire about the secret meeting. Many believed Earth had declared war. Others speculated an unprecedented alliance. The tension mounted when, without warning, Dominion sensor grids started picking up phantom signals in every sector. Alarm after alarm lit up across the central defense hub. "Multiple contacts, unknown configuration, no FTL signatures. They're just appearing." The Dominion Council panicked. Delegates demanded an immediate show of force. But before a single vessel could be mobilized, thousands of Earth warships revealed themselves. Perfectly positioned around each major Dominion system, they flickered in and out of normal space, as though daring the Dominion to make a move. Archregent Kazeth faced the assembled council, voice shaking in shock. "We are the largest empire in known space, yet Earth has outmaneuvered us at every turn. How is that even possible?" At that exact moment, a priority hail cut across all Dominion frequencies. "Dominion High Council, this is Admiral Anya Sorin of the United Earth Fleet. Stand down. Any act of aggression will be interpreted as a hostile response." The channel crackled with tension. The council delegates, accustomed to speaking from a position of unquestioned authority, found themselves at a loss. Deep beneath the surface of Honoria Prime, in the Dominion's most secure intelligence vault, Operative Tel Kalan sifted through a series of classified logs. Tel Kalan was known for uncovering conspiracies that rattled the highest tiers of power. Now, faced with an unprecedented crisis, they worked frantically to find any evidence or blueprint explaining Earth's quantum breakthroughs. "They masked their progress for years," Tel Kalan muttered into a personal recorder. "Every time we spied on them, we saw exactly what they wanted us to see. Decoy shipyards, false hyperlane expansions, old transmitters, still looping empty signals." The final file made Tel Kalan's blood run cold. It was a record from a Ganymede security station during the hive mind incursion that Dominion had deliberately withheld reinforcements, letting Earth's colony fight alone. To study human resilience under existential threat. "They watched an entire colony nearly fall," Tel Kalan said, voice shaking with disgust. "All to glean data on how humans react under pressure. Well, they got their answer. If the humans start looking for magic early, it can be the difference between life and death." Closing the file, Tel Kalan realized the Dominion had nurtured its own downfall. By testing humanity's limits, they forced them to adapt far beyond normal boundaries. In a private communication chamber above the council hall, Envoy Patrice Allen and Archregent Kazith faced each other via a live quantum feed. An air of resentment hung between them. "You have us surrounded," Kazith admitted, trying not to let his voice quaver. "And it seems you've cracked quantum displacement in ways we can't even begin to comprehend. What do you want?" Patrice's gaze was unwavering. "We want autonomy, recognition, and an end to Dominion interference. Your empire claims to bring order and prosperity, but we've seen how you use weaker worlds for experimentation and politics." Kazeth's slit-pupiled eyes narrowed. "You speak of interference, yet your vessels stand ready to devastate our core worlds. You're no better than conquerors yourself." Allen's jaw tightened. "Conquest. If that was our goal, you wouldn't have seen our ships until they fired on your capitals. Our technology allows us to strike without warning, but we haven't. We're offering you a future, one where Earth stands as an equal, not as a subject." Archregent Kazith studied the data on his console, the star map glowing red with Earth's fleets. The Dominion's entire civilization was on the edge of ruin if hostilities broke out. "New friends?" he asked quietly. "Total sovereignty for Earth and its colonies, unconditional acceptance of Earth's seat on the Dominion Council with equal voting power, and immediate cessation of Dominion expansion into all border systems until further negotiations." Kazith's breathing quickened. This would shatter the Dominion's centuries-old hierarchy. "You realize the Council will not take this lightly." "They no longer have a choice, Archregent," Allen replied. "Nor do you." Just as negotiations seemed poised on a knife's edge, new alarms sounded throughout Inoria Prime. Officer Saren Dole burst into the chamber, panting, eyes wide with horror. "High threat level. We're detecting multiple subspace breaches across Dominion territory. Signatures indicate—" The Shar Horde. A hush fell. The Shar Horde was a scourge even older than the Dominion, believed extinct after their last rampage centuries ago. If they truly had re-emerged, they could devour worlds in weeks. And the worlds— Nothing moved. Patrice Allen's eyes narrowed. "Our intelligence suggests they've developed rudimentary quantum slip jumps. They're clumsy with it, but dangerous enough to bypass standard defenses." Kazith's heart pounded. You knew?" Patrice's expression hardened. "We discovered the Shar's resurgence a year ago. Our deep space scouts tracked them in the uncharted rim. We tried warning the Dominion, but you were too preoccupied labeling Earth as primitive to listen." Just then, the feed switched to the Dominion's outer colonies, where swarms of biomechanical Shar vessels poured through ragged subspace tears, ravaging orbital defenses that never saw them coming. Iberan saw. Screams, emergency transmissions, and real-time visuals of decimated outposts filled the Council's monitors. Panic ignited among the delegates. Meanwhile, Earth's fleets remained at the periphery, silent guardians. Or executioners. "If we don't act now," Patrice Allen said to the Council's frantic delegates, "those colonies will be gone in hours, and the Horde will only push further in." Zero Nar, the Arak delegate, hissed in anger. "So you plan to let us bleed? Watch us suffer the fate you once did?" Envoy Allen's gaze was cold but not without empathy. "We planned on ensuring the Dominion realized it needs us. You forced our hand. But we're not monsters. We won't stand by while billions die." Matriarch Risali, her vibrant plumage flared in fear, spoke up. "So, you'll save us if we capitulate to your demands?" Allen inhaled slowly. "We will save you because we can. But we will not accept the Dominion's old hierarchy. Choose. Join us in a new alliance of true equals, or watch as the Shar Horde consumes your worlds." Archregent Kazast, in a rare moment of humility, bowed his head. "The Council agrees to Earth's terms. We can't defeat the Horde without you." Patrice Allen nodded, transmitting an immediate signal across the hidden quantum network. "Admiral Soren, you're clear to engage." Far across Dominion space, the UES Vanguard and its sister fleets shimmered into motion. They did not tear reality like the shower. Instead, they made smooth, elegant quantum transitions, each jump barely registering on any sensor. One second they were in the Dominion borderlands, the next they formed interlocking patterns around shower incursion points. Anya Soren's voice echoed through Dominion channels. "This is Admiral Soren. All Dominion defense ships, power down your main engines and let our drives anchor the sector. Stay in formation or risk dimensional collisions." With precise coordination, Earth's warships activated phase veil lattices, containing the Shar slip breaches and stabilizing local spacetime. Dominion forces, disoriented but desperate, followed Admiral Soren's instructions. Within minutes, entire swarms of Shar craft found themselves trapped in quarantined pockets, cut off from reinforcements. The entire slant surface, a wall of confrontation, was covered with armed catapults. As the dust settled, the Dominion Council members watched in awe. On the strategic displays, Earth ships orchestrated a massive rescue operation, evacuating besieged colonies, sealing subspace ruptures, and driving back the Shar horde. Finally, the holographic image of Admiral Soren appeared in the council chamber, alongside Archregent Kazeth and Envoy Allen. "We're securing your outer systems now," she reported, voice calm but firm. "We can hold them off and push the horde back. But understand, from this day on, Earth is no subordinate race." Silence, this time not of fear, but of realization, washed over the chamber. Humanity had transformed from a curiosity to a bulwark, from a test subject to a savior. Kazeth cleared his throat. "You have our gratitude and our respect. The Dominion will honor its word." "See that you do," Soren replied, "because there are greater dangers lurking in the shadows of this galaxy, beyond even the Shar. We'd do better facing them as allies." Months later, the Dominion Council, now restructured into the Galactic Coalition, with Earth holding a permanent leadership seat, met to discuss new defense frameworks and equitable resource sharing. The sense of arrogance that once defined the Dominion was replaced with a careful humility. High Monitor Kez, reflecting on recent events, stood beside Archregent-turned-Consul Kazeth at an observation deck above Inoria Prime's capital. They watched Earth and Coalition ships weaving in and out of quantum slipspace, patrolling the frontier. "It's still unsettling," Kez murmured. "One day, Earth simply went silent, and we were left scrambling for answers." Kazeth nodded, the weight of his past pride evident in the downward curve of his spine. "That silence was our undoing, and the start of something new. We pushed them to adapt beyond our comprehension, and in doing so, we reshaped the galaxy." Kez turned to watch a human cruiser vanish into a soft ripple, reappearing miles away in a blink. "No Dominion will ever forget the day Earth chose to vanish from our radar. They re-emerged on their own terms, and in doing so, saved us all." Kazeth's voice was subdued yet resolute. "And perhaps, in time, we'll learn from them. Learn to adapt with them, rather than force them to adapt for us." Far off, a lone Earth battleship ascended into the twilight sky, flickering between states of reality, the bright banner of the Galactic Coalition painted across its hull. In that moment, it was clear to all who looked on. Humanity's silence had been the quiet forging of a future no empire could have predicted, and no one would ever ignore again.